Good evening, everyone. I'm Nation. Welcome to the CCS Season 6 selection show. Just a short while ago, the selection committee wrapped up this season's tournament bracket. 17 teams received an automatic qualification, 15 await an at-large. Joining me now, Somber, as we break down the field of 32 for the CCS Season 6 selection show.
Oh man, I'm blessed to be here, dude. I'm no longer the spectator. I'm here on the broadcast alongside you to bring all the bracket hype and reveal all these matchups. I'm very excited. You sent me it earlier today. I got to kind of ruminate over the bracket and really get my teeth sunk into this. So I'm very excited for what's to come for playoffs here.
And I've been around here for a long time now. 6 seasons doing this, Somber. A couple seasons now doing the selection show as it is now, and it's fun every single time. And the bracket's always completely different. And you never know what you're going to get out of a tournament like this for single elimination. It's either you win or go home. You either play really good or your season is done and dusted in one night. So we'll see how the teams react to this bracket and see how they choose to attack the first round this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's some people that are going to be out there. They're not going to be too happy with their first round because obviously you do have some top dogs out there. Your Syracuse, your Florida, your Drexel, your Akrons of the world. But this is where we see big upsets. We were just talking. I think that going back to the 32 teams, this is going to be the most competitive first round that we've seen in a really long time, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Me as well. Chat. This is a 32 team field for the summer. We'll be back to 64. In the fall, as you guys know. But Somber, let's go ahead and discuss the conference champions. We saw 17 teams automatically qualify for the CCS championships, and here's the graphic showing those 17 teams, Somber. And a lot of these teams, a couple of them, Cinderella playoff runs.
Yeah, I mean it's the cinema content series for a reason, right? We've had some big time wins, especially that Northeastern over the likes of Drexel, who were a top 4 just a short while ago here in the national playoffs. But man, it's gonna be nice to see how many of these familiar names and still new auto bid teams can make their run. I know Northeastern, they got their run cut short last time around. Same with the likes of South Carolina. They're now back with favorable seeding. I'm very excited for a lot of these teams to see what they have here in the summer and give us a good indication of what they're bringing towards the fall as well.
2 teams guaranteed to make their tournament debuts this summer, Cal Poly and Winthrop, as Cal Poly won a 4-0 thrilling series the other night against UC Santa Barbara. Somber. Peely, that kid's absolutely disgusting. Dude went for 9 of 11 goals that night for the Cal Poly, dominated from start to finish. That was one of the most thrilling series I got to watch across last week. We crowned 17 conference tournament champions, and I'm sure you mentioned South Carolina. They played their way into the CCS tournament by winning the SEC tournament. They were done and dusted, their season over as soon as they lost. They went on a glory run, beat number 1 Florida in the process. What a run to get here. A welcome to the tournament, the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to those boys at Raleigh, and they were down but not out. They had some hopes in themselves, and they have high aspirations to do big things, not here just in CCS, but in a lot of the other leagues that they play in, and also CRL. So to see them come out and beat a team like Florida, I got high hopes for their bracket run. I know that it was disappointing their last go around in CCS for season 5, but a brand new season, and they seem to be on a heater. So I'm particularly looking forward to USC. But like you said, Cal Poly is going to be a tough team to beat, and I like to see their inaugural run for playoffs to see if they're able to step to the national competition and make a name for themselves as well.
Me as well. I think for South Carolina, they've had a couple of unfortunate runs at the CCS championships. I don't know if you watched back in season 5, or season 4 it was. South Carolina became the first team in tournament history to be reverse swept in a tournament game by California. That was a 12 over a 5 seed for Cal, the Golden Bears. They almost did it 2 rounds in a row. So they did it to the second round, were down 0-3, brought it to game 7 and lost, unfortunately. But that was a crazy run for Cal. South Carolina was unfortunately on the wrong end of history there, but nonetheless, they're back for a 3rd consecutive trip, Somber. Hopefully this time it's better news.
Yeah, I mean, hey, on the bright side, at least you've made it past the round of 64 this go around. You're already into the round of 32. So no round of 64 disappointment for the Gamecocks.
Not at all. Well, again, like I mentioned earlier, the selection committee wrapped up its decision-making a couple nights ago, and we talked over a lot of things regarding, wins and losses, your conference playoffs, what you did in the regular season, how hard you scheduled your non-conference, and how well you did in those 2 non-conference games everybody played. And, we decided that the 32 field we selected was what it was going to be, and we thought it was pretty well done. So we're excited to reveal this bracket later on in summer. But again, it's going to be a fun tournament. I'm super excited.
Yeah, again, this cutting it down to 32, which is tough in of itself. This has the makings for not just the most competitive round 1 that we've seen in a really long time, but the most competitive bracket throughout the run of things. I mean, even if you just pick favorites all the way through the semis, I don't know who's making it to the national finals this go around. Last time, it was pretty clear cut that you could pick Akron and Mizzou and you would be right 9 times out of 10. But this go around, I don't know who I could pick to be my top 4. There's potential for a lot of upsets, a lot of runs to be had. So again, just very much looking forward to seeing how this bracket unfolds, especially with how this round 1 is set to be.
Me as well. There's a lot of really good, round 2 and round 3 games that could happen if games go the way they should in the first round. So we'll have to wait and see how that progresses. But again, this coming week, starting tomorrow through next Tuesday with the round of 32, those chats will go live later tonight after the selection show to schedule their opening round with the round of 32. Then following that on Friday, August 1st, will be the round of 16. On Saturday, August 2nd, will be the regional finals. And Sunday, your Final Four national title game. Somber to be a thriller to be there. I'm super excited. For those of you asking in chat where he's been, Jonas will be back for the tournament.
Oh, my sweet king, my sweet baby boy. I'm so excited to have Jonas back, man. It hasn't been the same without him. So to have this stacked of a bracket and to have Jonas back for all the excitement as well, I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped to see it.
Me as well, man. It's been a rough season, without getting to cast him the entire time. We haven't done a series together all season long. He's been super busy, and he hasn't had a setup for like a couple weeks now. And I also talked to him the other day. He did tell me he will be here for the tournament, so I'm super excited to have him back. But again, Topper, it's going to be a fun week as me and you and Fox will wrap up the round of 32 together, hopefully. And then we'll get to the tournament with Jonas, and this will be a lot of fun. But I think, we've done enough delaying. I think it's time.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone in chat is ready to see all of these absolutely astounding round 1 matchups that we have in store.
Well, let's get down to the CCS Season 6 selection show, as here are the CCS brackets from our corporate champion, Sideline Sports Network, from the CCS Selection Committee, straight down to the East Region, your number 1 overall seed in the CCS Championships. It's none other than Syracuse, the Orange, an unbeaten dominant season of the ACC.
I mean, could you expect anything other than Syracuse to be your number 1 overall? They have come in, they made the roster moves to pick up a top contender team in the collegiate space. They've done just that. They've come out, they've absolutely slaughtered the competition, and now they're here to make their run. And in my opinion, they're the best team to give Akron a run for that national title. We saw Mizzou come in, they fell short. I think that the Syracuse team could be even better than that.
I mean, look at the Syracuse team that hasn't lost all season. They even had players dropping 0 points in an ACC tournament final last week. It was just dominant fashion from start to finish there against Florida State. And unfortunately, Pitt had to forfeit that semifinal game. It could have been a different story for the Panthers of Pittsburgh in the final against Syracuse, but who knows? We never get that game. Maybe we get it here in the tournament. But nonetheless, Somber, Syracuse, an immediate threat to an Akron three-peat.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Very much looking forward to seeing what they can do against the national stage and see how far they can go through the bracket.
Me as well. Let's reveal their opponent. Round 1, number 8 from the East region. It's Milwaukee. The Horizon League tournament champions will take on Syracuse in the opening round. Somber, how do you feel about the Panthers' chance here?
I mean, congratulations on winning your conference. Your reward for that is now having to play the most dominant team in CCS in Syracuse in the round 1. They only dropped a singular game throughout their conference run to get that championship and that auto bid here. But I mean, like you said, you got players on the side of Syracuse who are dropping 0 points in a game and still coming out victorious. So I think Milwaukee is definitely going to have their hands full, to say the least.
I think so. So again, this Milwaukee team has gotten better each and every season. Now back-to-back Horizon League tournament champions. Cleveland State back in the fall to contest that title. But again, the Panthers, I would say that maybe they can play for a Game 6 situation here. But again, Syracuse is so dominant. I'm fully expecting the Orange to come out on top of this. Let's move on to the 4 seed in the East region. Penn State, the Nittany Lions at 4.
Penn State has been a solid rock here for CCS. They've had their ups and downs, but I like them as a 4 seed here, especially with who they will be revealed to be matched up against. I think that they match up very well. But again, it's a team that's on a collision course with Syracuse. It's going to be tough, but they have that pop off to potential to in a round 2 if all things go their way to be able to take it to the likes of Syracuse.
Well, the round 1 opponent you mentioned is a tough battle. I mean, it's number 5, Florida International, the USA Tournament champions, will take on Penn State on the opening week round of 32. That's a really, really good 4-5 matchup here.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing kind of with Penn State, where FIU, they have their hot moments, they have their cold moments. This is going to be probably one of the better round 1 matches if both teams come to play and they're on their A game. But again, it's what version of these teams you're going to get. But a 4 and a 5, very respectable for both of them, and both of these teams for a very long time now, again, have been kind of cornerstones to these playoff brackets and been able to make challenging attempts against a lot of the upper seeded teams. So it's going to be a very tightly contested matchup between these two.
I 100% agree. I think, FIU, after having last season's early stumble in terms they had a Final Four from 2 seasons ago, this is a team that could really take it to the house against anybody. So I'm excited to see what Zernight and the crew do against a very new and improved Penn State roster alongside a newcomer and entry. And I think Nitrous will lead this team to, maybe a deep run here, maybe even upset Syracuse. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one, if they can even get past FIU first. But on to the 2 seed in the East region. It's none other Sun Belt Tournament titles. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns at 2.
Man, we saw them just a few nights ago. They look so good, man. They look very much like that GCU squad that we just saw take down UTA. They are a team that is fully comfortable with just going up 2-0 in the opening minute and then playing some of the best defense you've ever seen. They are also capable of winning an absolute shootout and beating you 5-4 with a last-second goal. They look like such a complete team right now, and they're going to be very dangerous in this bracket.
Yeah, this is a team that, again, they rely heavily on their defense. We talked about it last week on the broadcast. They don't score a lot of goals, but they play a death grip defense. It just keeps you locked in for the full 5 minutes. They're tough to beat. You're not going to beat them scoring a lot of goals. So you got to be able to be efficient on defense to hold this Louisiana offense to very low scoring to give your defense a chance to fight for a title. And I think that's going to be a tough road for teams to kind of get through in this tournament. But nonetheless, their first round opponent from the American, number 7, East Carolina.
And this is what makes the matchup interesting. East Carolina, they can be a offensive juggernaut. They can be a very mechanical team led by basically. So to go up against Louisiana, this is kind of the unstoppable force versus the immovable object right here in this round 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Louisiana's defense is good enough to stonewall the pressure that East Carolina likes to play with, or if East Carolina is just going to be absolutely snuffed out on offense and they're going to have to play a lot more passive. So I think that of the round 1 matchups that we're going to be revealing here, in my book, this is definitely like a top 5 most competitive. It can go either way, a true 50-50.
I don't know about a 50-50 because I watched East Carolina have a really, really good regular season with the AAC tournament. I mean, Charlotte was on another level that night they played. I think it was a sweep 4-0, I believe, was the score. They had a rough night. And again, Louisiana, you mentioned a lot. Their defense is hard to beat. I think they're in for a rude awakening. I think it's going to be a rough night for ECU against the Raging Cajuns. But again, anything can happen as we know it. It's a best of 7. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen. So we'll have to wait and see how that one shakes out. But I think it'll be close potentially, but I think Louisiana has it in the bag. Moving forward, number 3 in the East, the Dragons of Drexel. After a rough season and 2 straight 1 seeds in this tournament, they are now a 3 here this summer.
Man, Drexel, I always have so much stock in them. Barron and Zerf are such a great duo. Kevin, of course, is going to be doing Kevin things, but them still being able to earn a 3 seed here in a very tough East is going to be absolutely amazing. Coming off of a top 4, and now having a chance to not make it past the top 8. Very interesting for them, but I still like their chances to make a bracket run. They always seem to know when to turn things on for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, again, guard the newcomer. He's going to be a player to watch in the coming school year as well for this Drexel squad. I think, a 3 seed probably is undermining just how good of a team this team really is. I think you mentioned it perfectly. They can go on a big run. Syracuse against Drexel is probably a good bet for an East Region final. We'll have to wait and see, though. Drexel will take on number 6, Pittsburgh, from the ACC semifinal exit to a forfeit. They'll take on Drexel in the first round. That's a really tough pool.
Yeah, it really is, but I think you and I both know that Pittsburgh seems to always do the funniest thing when it comes to bracket play and non-conference. They end up pulling these really tough opponents and somehow making it a really, really competitive series. So I would not put it past Pitt to take this to a really scrappy game 6 in round 1 and really test Drexel early.
Yeah, Drexel had 2, Game 5 scares in week 1. They lost both of them to San Diego State and Texas A&M, who are both in this tournament. So again, we'll have to wait and see kind of how they attack the non-conference slate again in their season, because it was rough this go-around. So we're on to the Midwest region, the bottom left side of the bracket here as we move on. Number 1 in the Midwest, 4 overall, 2-time defending champions, number 1, Akron.
Man, it's crazy to say that Akron is the number 4 overall in this bracket. It really shows how much the top end has improved just from season 5 to now. But I mean, to be expected, a 1 seed in the Midwest, they're going to come out and they're going to be the team to beat out here. But we were talking about it before we went live. I think that the Midwest is the most competitive region. I mean, all of these are going to have the potential for upsets, but I think that when you look at the Midwest as a whole, I think that this round 1, it's too tough to pick a winner from any of these. But Akron, I think, is still coming out as a slight favorite for this region.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. You mentioned it's a tough field. I'm just excited to watch it all play out. I really am. This is going to be a fun tournament. But at number 8, Akron will take on North Carolina, one of the last teams in the field here from the Midwest region. Akron, UNC, round 1. The Zips should have an easy night in the opening round.
Yeah, I mean, UNC, they had a rough season 5. To see them bounce back here in season 6 during the summer, try to figure things out a little bit more and make their way to this round of 32 is impressive in of itself. If you can, even keep the games competitive with Akron, I think that you'll take that as a win and something to build upon going into the fall. But UNC here, again, going to have their hands full. It's going to be a heavily favored Akron matchup, but UNC, they're going to take the reps when they can, going up against a team like Akron, and making it here is a big stamp of how great they can be after the season that they had just one season ago.
Absolutely. And we got a big 4-5 duel here in the Midwest, but again, Somber, the reward is likely Akron in round 2. It's number 4, Illinois. Here in the Midwest, Illinois will be your 4 seed.
Illinois, another team that's starting to be a consistent. They not just make it into the round of 64, but they've been making these little runs and having to face off against your Akrons of the world in round 2 and round 3 of the brackets. But I believe Peaceful's on that Illini team, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so they're always going to be able to do something. I think that, like you said, very, very tough 4-5 matchup, but Illinois can go on runs of their own. But again, Midwest is just absolutely stacked, man. It's going to be tough.
Well, at number 5, the Fighting Illini will take on the Mavericks of UT Arlington from the WAC. They lost the conference in the final to Grand Canyon. They still were selected to participate in this season's championships. Will take on Illinois in the first round. It's a really good 4-5 game. Peaceful and Nava going to go head-to-head now. I want it to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, and we saw UTA really take it to GCU in their conference championship. Now, they still haven't fully broken the curse of beating them in playoffs, but being able to take that team to a very competitive 6 with a blowout win in their favor included in the mix. I like their chances against the Illini. again is going to be what version of UTA we get. UTA again is one of those teams where when they're hot, they're really hot, and when they're cold, they can struggle a lot. And when you start off a series struggling against a team like Illinois, it's going to be a long night for you, or rather a quick night for you, as the Illini play so consistently and they are such a just consistent. They're just such a consistent team. So you're going to have to really bring your A game to take them down here in the Midwest.
And both these teams have not had a lot of success, Somber, in the CCS championship. If you remember last season, Illinois was upsetted by Louisville in the first round in the 4-13 game. And UTA has never won an opening round game of the tournament yet. So this is probably their best shot to win this opening round. They were also upsetted by Houston last season in the 7-10 game back in the South region of last season's tournament. But moving on, number 2 in the Midwest, Iowa State, the Cyclones.
Iowa State, when they first kind of made their appearance here to CCS and had their deep playoff run in their inaugural season, really shocked me. This team can play absolutely out of their mind, insane. They can look like some of the best players in the league on any given night. So to have them here as the 2 seed doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And really goes to show with how competitive this portion of the bracket is and how close it is in round 1 to come out as a 2 seed with the other teams that are in your region. They're going to be a tough team to beat, man.
They are, and against number 7 in the Midwest, the Slippers have already somewhat been tied. South Carolina, the Gamecocks, will take on Iowa State in the opening round, and Iowa State USC game, Somber. That is cinema right there. That is must-see TV this coming week.
Yeah, that's going to Game 7. I can already tell you, it's going to go the distance. South Carolina, like you said, they've been on a little bit of a Cinderella run. They were able to take down Florida. They took down Tennessee. They are the SEC champions, which in my opinion, the SEC is one of the most competitive conferences in the CCS. So to come out and be champion of that conference really puts a lot of weight behind your placement. And now having to take on Iowa State, it is going to be a very, very close matchup. I think that of the Midwest, this is the most of a toss-up where it's going to come down to that Game 7, who's playing better.
And both these teams, both won conference tournament champions in 2 very deep conferences in the country. I mean, the Big 12 and the SEC, 2 of the best conferences in CCS. It's going to be a war that night between the Gamecocks and the Cyclones. And moving on to the 3 seed in the Midwest, it's Maryland. The Terrapins in the Big 10, they're tournament champions, number 3 in the Midwest, and again, led by Hexie. When he gets started, they are a very scary team to play.
Yeah, I mean, not just Hexie popping off. I feel like they also elevate their team to another level when they're playing well. When they are having a good game, the team is having a good game, and it's not just because they're backpacking. It's because they enable their teammates to play well and play up and play aggressive and fast paced. Maryland is a very scary team, even when they're not feeling hot. So when they're able to turn things up in playoffs, they're even that much more dangerous.
That they are on their opponent in the first round, number 6 in the Midwest. It's the Volunteers of Tennessee in SEC tournament final appearance. They were swept by South Carolina. They'll play a 3-6 game against Maryland in the opening round.
Tennessee, man, it's nice to see the new guard in and still performing for the Volunteers, but they have their hands full with Maryland as a first round. I think that they're up to the task. I think that this is very much like the Drexel-Pittsburgh match from the East region, where I think that Maryland are still favored in this matchup, but Tennessee can definitely take it to 6, if not 7, and possibly cause an upset and have a spot. If we get back-to-back upsets with Iowa State, South Carolina, and Maryland, Tennessee, and we see that South Carolina-Tennessee rematch, I mean, the script writes itself, nation.
It really does. I'm excited. I think, though, this region's going to have a lot of really good games. I'm excited to see, who comes out on top. I really think that, although Akron is a, 2-time defending champion, it's really hard to win this tournament 3 times. Summer. No one's ever done it. Akron was the first to win it twice. I'm just going to say it now. I don't see them winning it 3 times in a row. And I love
Yeah, I
Jonathan.
mean,
I really do. Love the kid, love the guys. But this tournament, as we know, it's grueling, man.
dude, especially when they're on a collision course with Syracuse and with how well they've been playing. Again, that's why I said like I don't know who I can pick for even the finals. I don't even know who I can pick for a top four because when you get down to it, can a team like Maryland or Iowa State upset Akron? I've seen them beat teams of similar caliber in other competitions. It's possible. Same with the likes of Syracuse. Can Drexel pull off an insane run and they have an upset win? We've seen them take down Akron in non-conference and make pretty light work of it. And they pull out that same type of performance against Syracuse and upset them and knock them out from a top four appearance. We won't know until it plays out, but we have so much potential for upset, and it's so tough to pick even a top four just looking at these first two regions, and we still got two more to go.
Yeah, and this is the second hardest region out of the four by true raw seeding. The Midwest is second hardest. The East is the toughest according to the raw seeding. Now moving on to the top right corner of this tournament, the third hardest region, so the second easiest region, is the West region. At number one, it's no surprise that it is number one, San Diego State. They're back to a one for the first time since season 3.
I'm excited to see it, man. San Diego State has performed so well throughout this season, and then you got Zap coming back. He's playing some of the best Rocket League that we've seen him play individually in a really really long time. So they're going to be, in my estimation, the team to beat, not just in the West, but out of this half of the bracket.
I mean, they added Sean B alongside 5 stars and AZAP. This is a scary roster. They beat Drexel earlier in the year. They beat Grand Canyon in 5. It's going to be a thrilling regional as well. I'm excited to see how far SCSU can go because they also haven't had the deepest of runs. They went to the national title game back in the spring of last year in season 2 and lost to Kansas. The season after that, they lost to Syracuse in the round of 16, and they've had a couple of second, third round exits in the past. So moving on, number 8, St. Thomas, the Summit League champions, will take on SCSU in the opening round.
Yeah, I feel like there's not much to say. St. Thomas, we caught their championship win the other night on broadcast. I like what Crimsix can do. They can have their pop off games and really be a difference maker in series. But I think with how just the different level that San Diego State can play at, I think that this is kind of a, hey, you get your reps against some of the top end talent. You go into the fall and you have those nice reps to go forward in for the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, Chad Aquino is not playing. He is now the sub. Although I do believe he will have some sort of farewell tour, last rodeo kind of thing in the fall in his final semester with the Aztecs here in CCS. Moving along, though, number 4 in the West region, it's the Huskies Northeastern, as they couldn't go to the East due to a conference game in the first round. So it's Northeastern here in the West at number 4.
Love to see it. Love to see the boys here for the Huskies. They are another team that have absolutely insane pop off potential. They have another tough first round opponent, but I think that they have probably the best chance out of any team here to upset San Diego State if that does become the round 2 matchup. But again, I think that they're gonna have their hands full in the first round before they have their eyes set on the Aztecs.
Meanwhile, their hands are definitely full. Number 5, it's Grand Canyon the Antelopes versus Northeastern in the opening round. That is a thriller. It's going to be a lot of fun. GCU Northeastern should be a fun one, Somber. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, game 7. This is can't miss TV, can't miss Rocket League. GCU, we saw them play so well against UTA. They play so consistently outside of their conference as well. It's again going to be the unstoppable force versus the immovable object and see who comes out on top.
I mean, GCU is another one of those teams that just heavily relies on their defense. We watched it against UTA the other night. I think Northeastern's in for a long series for sure. I think this one goes to 6, if not 7. And I think if GCU's defense, that's a X factor here for me. And Northeastern's offensive efficiency. I think that if GCU's defense is lights out that night, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, definitely going to be a long night. I still want to give the edge to Northeastern. I just love that team so much, but I think that it's going to be down to that final game for sure.
I think this is one of those series you can market honestly as actual dead even 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on into the 2 seed in the West region. This bracket gets no easier. It's Arizona, the Wildcats, at 1 loss all season. They're a 2 seed here in the West with San Diego State potentially in a West regional final.
The Wildcats have had such an interesting turnaround, because I remember back in season 4, they were a team that really started off kind of hot and then fizzled out and didn't really do much past that. But back with last season and now into this season, they have been a elite regular season team and coming out and doing big things in their playoff bracket. So I'm excited to watch their run here in what is yet to be another kind of sneaky, tough round 1 matchup. But yeah, Arizona, they can make a little bit of a run here and again be a potential upset slash not really expected to be top 8 team.
Absolutely agree. And I think, again, last season you mentioned too, Arizona was knocked out in the first round of that Big 12 tournament. And they went on a deep run. They got to the regional final and lost to Florida. We're literally a game away from the Final Four with the Game 7 just short there for the Wildcats. Now, they went to the tournament final this season. Are they in for an early exit this time?
I guess we'll have to see, because their opponent, they've been a team to upset and cause some havoc to some brackets before. So we'll get to see if they have it in it once again.
Well, it's number 7, California, a team that has pulled off one of 4 best-of-7 reverse sweeps in CCS history, and none of which has been in the tournament. So we'll see if how they fare with Arizona, but they've had a couple of thrilling, exciting runs in the past, and this is a really good 2-7 game.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a sneaky, could be an upset. Cal, they, again, just know how to play differently when it comes to the bracket. They seem to play their most competitive Rocket League when it comes to the national bracket. And while Arizona has been a very consistent team at beating teams like the likes of Cal, I think that we're just going to be in store for another Cal masterclass, and they're going to be able to take Arizona to a deep run.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think Cal can play up to Arizona. I think it'll be an exciting series. Nonetheless, on the 3 seed in the West, it's Northern Arizona here in the West region. Number 3, the Lumberjacks.
NAU getting it done once again, being a top end seed in their region and having what should be a relatively easy first round for them, given their track record. But again, anything can happen in round 1. We've seen plenty of upsets. We've seen plenty of shock and awe throughout these matchups. But NAU, I think that they are definitely, in my opinion, one of the teams that you can have as a pretty solid favorite here in their round 1 of their region.
And on to this 6th seed in the West, it's Cal Poly will take on NAU. And I mentioned earlier, Peely went off 9 for 11 at the goals in that series against UC Santa Barbara in the Big West final. I'm looking for him to go big if the Mustangs are going to pull off an upset here.
Yeah, they're going to have to play out of their mind. They're going to have a repeat performance out of Peely if they want to take down the likes of NAU. But again, I think that this being your first entry in, you're going to be playing up a little bit. It's going to be a tough round 1 for you. And I think they have what it takes to take it to NAU and make it a tough series. However, I think that NAU, just with their now experience in bracket play, that's what's going to set them over the edge just a little bit over Cal Poly.
I would agree. Again, NAU's coming off a top 8. They're going to be a tough out. Even Arizona is in trouble in the second round. If they can even get past California, that's going to be really good. Round 2 game and on to the South region, our final region. 8 more teams to be selected to the field, Somber. And starting off at number 1, it is the Gators of Florida.
We will be seeing this Florida team without K-Frost, which it doesn't really change it too much. You're still going to have Larry and Hammy Crackers, which can be a handful in of itself, but it is going to be definitely a newer look Florida team than what we've seen throughout the majority of the regular season. I like the pick here as 1 seed, very, very clear cut, despite some of the other teams that might argue against Florida being the number 1 overall team. But I do think that they still will have a little bit of a challenge here in their round one matchup.
Florida at number 3 overall in this field, just ahead of Akron and behind your 2 undefeated to San Diego State and Syracuse, with their first round opponent, number 8, Northern Illinois from the back.
NIU, man. NIU, they always are a surprising team to me. They come out and, usually I would say Florida versus NIU, this is going to be an absolute wash. Florida's going to win in the aggregate by plus 25. But NIU can come out and make this, consecutive 1-goal games, force an overtime here or there. They have what it takes to punch up. Do they have what it takes to punch up enough to take down Florida? I don't think so, but they still have the potential to make this a very interesting series.
They've had a couple of close sets in the past in this tournament. They took Charlotte a couple seasons ago back when they were like a 3 seed to like game 6. It was close. And you never know what you're going to get out of the Huskies. Hopefully that one's an exciting game. And Sapp, the USF transfer, will be the new third for Florida for the foreseeable future. Here in CCS is Charlotte, your 4th seed in the South. In a big second-round potential game with Florida and Charlotte moving forward.
Yeah, Charlotte is, again, one of those teams where I believe they ran into Drexel their last go-around. I think that this is their best shot to make a top 4. I think that they have just gotten better and better as the seasons pass. They've gotten more and more chemistry, and to be honest, they play very nonchalant. When I saw them on LAN, they make things look easy when they play against tough teams. When they were in a grand finals match against South Carolina with Katz, SJT, and Og playing some of the best Rocket League that I've seen that USC roster play as of recent memory, Charlotte made those games look easy against them. So when they give you 100% of what Charlotte can put on the pitch, they're a very dangerous team, and I think that them being on what should be a course to meet up against Florida, I think that they have a potential to take them down, and then they have a pretty routine run for their caliber of play to get to that top 4.
Well, their first round opponent, number 5, it's Utah. The Utes in the Big 12. They were a game away last season from upsetting number 3 North Texas in the opening round. They got to game 7 after a 3-2 lead after 5 and blew it. But nonetheless, they take on Charlotte in the opening round. That should be a thriller.
Yeah, Utah is a tough round 1 opponent. But like I said, Charlotte, they can play to a lot higher than what we see on a night-to-night basis. You bring up that match against ECU and how dominant they looked. That is kind of the usual Charlotte that we see. So if we see that same caliber of Charlotte gameplay against Utah, while it might be a close, tight matchup, I think that Charlotte still makes pretty light work of their round 1.
I could see this going either way, but I am leaning Charlotte a little bit. About 60-40, I'd say, for the 49ers here. But moving forward, number 2 in the South. They had to wait a long time to hear their name called, Somber. It's number 2, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, my goats. I have come to love this Texas A&M roster so much. The best name in collegiate Rocket League in Karsune Miku. They have been on an absolute tear throughout the regular season, throughout the playoffs. Their social media following for this Rocket League team is absolutely outstanding. I love the support that these guys get, and I think that again they're another team that is kind of one of the favorites to make it out of the South alongside Florida and Charlotte, because they have the potential to really pop off and punch way above their weight class.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. Punching way above their weight class. And again, shout out to the Sideline Sports Network admin and the Barstool admin for Texas A&M. They had their fun on Twitter a couple weeks ago when they beat Texas twice in the span of days. They went in on Twitter. That was crazy. If any of you guys saw that, you can go back and go to our Twitter. It was like July 10th or something. They went in on Texas Twitter that day. It was a lot of fun to witness. Moving forward, number 7 in the South, their first tournament appearance ever. It's the Winthrop Eagles.
I know I just gave a lot of praise to Texas A&M. However, Winthrop, Again, another team that I've gotten to see in person. They're another team that has those games where they come out and shine. So while Texas A&M is a favorite to make it through their region, I think Winthrop is going to make this an interesting series nonetheless.
I think so as well. I'm excited. I mean, again, Winthrop from Rock Hill, South Carolina, I believe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Summer. I don't know if you, yeah, Rock Hill. So I got that one right. But moving forward, number 3 in the South, it's the Boilermakers of Purdue. They couldn't go to the Midwest due to a conference game against a 6th seed from the Big Ten in the East, so they couldn't in the Midwest. Sorry, so they had to go to the South. As number 3 here, they'll take on the final team in the tournament, Connecticut, in a 3-6 game summer, and that's your 32 teams are wrapped up.
Yeah, Purdue UConn is gonna be an interesting matchup. UConn they don't do much outside of round one. At least to my knowledge, they haven't gone on any crazy runs. Purdue is a pretty usual like clinch for a top 8. I expect them to do more of the same here for season 6.
Yeah, I think Purdue just they've always had ice in their veins when it comes to the tournament. I think this is going to be no different. A&M Purdue in the second round is going to be a thriller. I even think UConn could beat Purdue. It's just going to be a tale of time. I think it's going to be another one of those series where it's just must see TV. Moving forward, though, Somber, let's take a look at our last 4 teams in the field and our first 4 teams that were left out.
And it's always tough making these decisions, right? Because especially now that we're back to 32 for the summer, it's tough. ECU, Cal, NIU, and UNC all scraping in. I understand the picks. However, I feel like again this is where the expanded format comes in, where it's like these guys were shoo-ins if we had that expanded format. But I mean they all have had impressive seasons, especially UNC. Like I said, they had such a fizzle out last year, and then to turn it around and then now be here in the bracket is much deserved.
Yeah, I think when you look at your first 4 teams out, being that Colorado was your first team out of the field, and the first team they've played in CCS where they've missed the tournament. I mean, the selection committee on selection night decided we put out to a vote between North Carolina and Colorado as the final team in the field. That vote went the way of North Carolina and left out Colorado as number 1 as the first team out of the field. Western Kentucky at number 2 out of the field. That loss to Sam Houston State in the CUSA semifinal is what kicked them out. If they had won that game, I'm fairly certain they would have been in this tournament.
Yeah, Western Kentucky being out of the tournament is a little bit of a surprise to me. They always play very consistently through the first rounds of playoffs, so they are a top 32 caliber team. But like you said, having that semifinals loss really hurt their resume. Another team to me that is missing is Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech has had a relatively impressive season, so to see them out really goes to show how tough it was to pick these top 32.
That one hurts, man. It really does. I don't know how many of you guys actively check our Twitter, but if you can tell, the CCS account loves Louisiana Tech, and there's a couple of good reasons behind that. First of all, they're a really good team. They had an unforgettable season. Shout out to the LA Tech president, their athletic directors, and their athletic sports program people and accounts engaging with us across the year. I'm excited to keep engaging with that program this coming school year, and unfortunately their season was cut short by Sam Houston State in a 7-over, 2 upset in the first round. That is what knocked them out. I am so sad they missed this tournament, but again, they'll be back in the fall. I'm excited to see what they do, but that's one that's hurt. That's one that hurts. And Utah State, the 4th team out of the field, and it was tough, man, to make these decisions on selection night.
Yeah, I mean, again, with the expanded 64 teams, all of these teams are easy ins. There's no question about it. Just due to the caliber of team that they are and the type of regular season that they had, is just you catch that loss too early on in your conference playoff bracket with only 32 spots on the line. It's tough to make that case.
It really is in the fall when everybody comes back. We're already sitting at like 150 something schools for the fall, and the goal is 200 before the season starts. But at least probably looking at 175, 180 again in the coming school year for the fall semester. And again, got teams like Missouri, Ball State, Michigan State coming back. It's going to be a
Mhm.
deep field in the fall. So, playing this tournament now while you can, 'cause it's going to be way tougher to make the field in the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say having these new faces in your top four, and then having so much kind of competitiveness throughout all of these brackets. This is gonna be your chance to get that deep playoff run experience and be able to carry that into the fall and carry that momentum and get those quality reps. Like I said, for a team like St. Thomas, like Cal Poly, yeah, you have a very tough opponent in front of you, but take advantage of that. You try to take a game, try to keep it as close as you possibly can, and not just look at the matchup and go, oh, they're XYZ team, they're this rank, we're not gonna. No, you can take the reps as you can, because this is gonna be wonderful for you going into the fall and give you that extra leg up in your competition in your conference, and see you right back here next season.
Absolutely. A great thing, for these underdogs seeded, kind of the 7 and 8 seeds, take a shot. You've got nothing to lose. You can take risks in the first round because you're not going to get any other opportunity to play a really good team. So it's good experience and good practice to, get reps against these better teams. But, looking at this full bracket, it's going to be so much fun. I'm super excited. We're all going to be together for this tournament, Somber, and Jonas is back as well. And I know people have been asking me where he's been. He is going to be back. I'm super excited to be back with him. I haven't called a game with him all season, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's going to be fun. There's a lot of good round one games. I'm sure there's going to be tons of cinema across the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. All of this is going to be must watch. Rocket League. Tune in every single night, especially for when Jonas is back, because we love Jonas around here.
Yeah, he's not here right now, chat. But again, I'm going to say this here now while he's not here. When he comes back, I better see all of you guys in the chat showing Jonas some love. Let's get him a good welcome back when he's coming back here for this tournament. I want to see everybody there. Everybody give Jonas love when he's back. But back to the KM Somber. What tournament's going to be? I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. The action starts tomorrow. So there's going to be games starting tomorrow all the way through next Tuesday ahead of the round of 16 on Friday, August 1st. What a thriller it's going to be. Thanks for joining me. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it's been absolutely electric. I can't wait for the bracket to shake out. We're going to see lots of classics, lots of upsets, and lots of thrills.
I'm going to release my predictions on Twitter tomorrow, so you guys can come ridicule me on Twitter for my picks for this tournament like you did last season. But nonetheless, guys, thanks for support as ever. It's been a super fun year 2. We're excited to show you guys what's in store for year 3 this coming school year. There's some exciting changes coming your way for the 2025-26 athletic year. We're super excited to reveal those news as this tournament goes on. We'll show you guys on Sunday, August 4th, the changes coming to the league this fall. We're hoping to welcome over 200 schools for the first time ever this fall. We're super excited. We hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow.